Hello farmers, welcome back to East Vineland where we are, well, Frank will be plowing here in just a moment. This job is going to pay us something like $8.5 grand, somewhere around there. But yes, I've been doing tons and tons of contracts, and Frank, there you go. I think it's going to be Frank. Hey, well, you know, it is actually Frank. So he's going to be plowing this field. We're up to $83,000 in the bank account. I've been doing contracts, and of course we'll be doing contracts here again today. I thought I was just going to do maybe like 3, 4, 5 contracts in between episodes, but as I was waiting for Frank to harvest, and I was carting the grain around, I didn't have any plowing jobs at the time. I started looking around the map, trying to figure out what we're going to be doing here, and trying to figure out the money situation. That I realized money situation is going to be kind of rough to get going, because the land here is expensive. The land I'm looking to buy, I guess at this point, is going to cost us $130. That's just going to be for the house. I could buy some land now for like $40,000, but I can barely put a tent on a piece of land like that. So yeah, we're looking for like $130. And if you're wondering what piece of land we're talking about, it's actually going to be right here. Actually, let me go to no, wrong, there we go, and go to farmland. So I think this is a starting farm. If you were to start on Fresh Farmer, or start from scratch, or no, not start from scratch, New Farmer, whatever the easy mode is. I think the farm is actually up here. I didn't actually check when I got this map. I just went right to fresh, start from scratch. But you can see that land right there is 130. This little land right here is like 45. I looked around the rest of the map trying to find something like a little plot like that. It's like 120, but then there's no set area for the farm across from it. So I think we're still going to start up here. But anywho, I wanted to fix our new used tractor, the Class Arion that we have, and I went around the map and could not find a workstation. I'm like, there's always a workstation here at the workshop, but you can see there's no trigger for one. So I thought maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a problem with conflicting mods on the map or something like that. So I went to New Farmer, or the easy mode, and I came to the store, and there was a trigger here to repair vehicles. I'm like, okay, let me start a fresh map and start from scratch with no mods loaded in. What happens? That's gone. What you gotta do if you're doing what we're doing, start from scratch on hard mode, what you gotta do is you actually gotta come into here. You gotta go to farmlands. What you want to do is you want to buy the shop land. It costs you nothing, but if you buy it, yes please, let's go ahead and buy it. Ta-da! There is your repair trigger. So I did repair the Class Arion. It cost me like $1,500 or so. So that is good and ready to go. While Frank is plowing that field, actually we got a good amount of contracts going on right now. Just refreshing. We're doing a whole bunch of them, not productions. So yeah, okay. So that's going to be 8,000. You can see he's got another field to do for 1,200, another field to do for 3,600. I've been doing nothing but cultivating, plowing, and harvesting. No fertilizing contracts yet. And looking at the calendar was something else I was doing about the not the harvest, but when to plant. Most of the crops you plant in the springtime. You can still plant wheat and barley in the fall, but mostly all the crops are planted in the springtime. So next season, when planting season comes, we should be busy fertilizing a lot of fields. I kind of forgot where I'm going with this combine, and what am I doing here? We are harvesting field 75, because if I go to the map, there's a whole bunch of fields flashing at me, and I don't know where we're going here. 75 should be up almost right where we're going, right? There's 77, 76, 73, 75 right there. So if I go up, turn right at the BGA, or maybe I'll just take a shortcut across all the fields. Maybe that's what I'll do. That is field 75 for that contract, right? Let me just double check before I drive way up there. Harvesting 75. Yep. No, wait, sorry. Yep, field 75, and take the grain to the sell point north. Wow, it's actually going to be right up there, huh? All right, let's get the combine up there. And this will be basically the only job we're going to be doing today, because here in the States, if you're watching this when this goes live, it is Labor Day, and it's a holiday here. I am recording this the day before, but I do have a gathering to get going to later on today, so I don't have that much time. But then, you know what always happens here is I say this is going to be a short video, and next thing you know, it's like 45 minutes long anyways. So there's that. But I'm glad I got up to 80,000 in the bank account, because that means we're a little over halfway to buying our land. I want to buy the land by the end of November so I can go ahead and either put down my log cabin or put down the tent. The cabin's like 10 grand, tent's like 50 bucks. So it all depends there. As for trying to get more income coming in, when this series started, I thought, the one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And the one thing I said I probably wouldn't do is when I do contracts for harvesting and put down straw swaths, I wasn't going to activate the mod to where we get the straw off the field. After looking around and figuring out, you know, the value of the fields and what's going to cost and how long it would take me to get that far, probably going to activate that mod. So that means I need to buy a baler at some point, and also a baling trailer, whether it be the auto-loading baling trailer that we've been using or the automatic auto-loading trailers like I use on No Man's Land, where I just drive around and it just pops right on to the trailer. So we can get some more money from doing the straw, because not only do we get straw from wheat, barley, and oats, now we, on this map here, we also get it from soybean and canola. I always got to check for traffic, because the traffic here is not heavy, but it seems like every time I cross the road like I just did there, along comes a car. Most of the time, I'll be honest, off camera, I don't look, I just drive, and I think 4 times out of 5, I run right into a car as I cross the road. It's the way it goes. We all know how that is. It's like, yeah, what are the odds a car is going to be coming? Bam! Okay, pretty darn good, right? Let's see here. 75 is still further on down this way. What I was also going to do with the contracts I was doing, as I did a whole bunch of contracts, I was going to take a picture of all the contracts I did and the money we had, so that way you can kind of see all the contracts I did and what we got paid. But most of the time I was doing 2 contracts at a time and trying to look for something else. So when I refresh it, sometimes when you refresh the contracts, the one you did disappears. So I was like, oh, I can't do that, so I'm just going to do the contract. So I had to pay myself for one of the contracts, because I did a plowing job, and that was the only one I did, and I went to refresh, and nothing else came up. I said, well, I'll just collect on this plowing job here, and I didn't get paid for it. Did not get paid for it, which is always frustrating, but it is what it is. Now with soybeans here on this map, so you can see we're harvesting soybeans. So if I activate the straw swath, give it a second, and there we go. We can get straw off of soybeans. So getting a baler and an auto-loading trailer of some sort, because the auto-loading trailer is going to be probably cheaper rather than getting a trailer and then getting a front end loader and bale spikes, and then having the pain to watch me load up the bales one by one on these big fields. I also want to address another question, because I just heard it, because someone did ask, what is that noise that we're hearing on this map on East Vineland? I don't know how often it happens. It happens so often, and it's been an issue in Farming Simulator for the past few versions. I think even way back to 17, every once in a while you hear like, I could be just standing anywhere, or it just seems to follow you around. It sounds like someone's activating like a trailer or something like that. Yeah, that's been an issue in Farming Simulator for a while, but it's not on all maps. It's only on certain maps, so I don't know what's causing it. But every once in a while it sounds like something's being activated just for like, and you hear like a sound just for like a second or two, but it sounds like a trailer. For those of you that hear it, that you always hear it, that's what it is. For those of you who weren't hearing it, and if you do start hearing it and it starts to annoy you, I'm sorry you even brought it up, but a couple of people have asked. The thing is, I'm so used to that noise, I don't even really notice it anymore. I think that gets us pretty much caught up on everything that's happened between last episode and this episode, and kind of what my plans are going forward. So I want to buy that land for $130,000, which means we just need another $50,000, which is not that much. I should be able to get it. by the end of November. Because I mean, we're going to get, you know, probably like 20 grand from all the jobs I'm doing here. That'll get us up to 100, and once we get 100, you know, 130, we'll buy that land right away. And that way I don't have to pay rent, which I'll have to pay rent probably for one more day. And I was trying to figure out what I could do with that little piece of land that we're going to have. And honestly, it's just not going to be big enough to put anything down that's going to benefit us a lot. I thought about a greenhouse, but I really don't want no greenhouses on my home property. I thought about beehives. I even thought about chickens. And don't worry, I realized we can buy cracked corn at the shop to feed our chickens, to get some eggs. But I think we're just going to have to wait until we buy maybe the land across the road from the house, which is going to be like $550,000. It's a lot of cash, I know, but it's a lot of open land and allows us to do a lot of things. And I'm hoping, like I said, next spring, the fertilizing contracts, I mean, I showed you, you can zip right through those really, really quick, and they pay very well, even though you got to buy the fertilizer to do it. But once we get the fertilizing contracts, there's a lot of fields here, a lot of big fields. We can see a lot of contract money coming in really, really fast. So just take example like this contract here that we're doing for harvesting. What am I getting paid to harvest this field? Only $3,500. And it's not even going to be $3,500 because I borrowed this stuff. So I'm probably going to get paid, I don't know, let's say $2,000 plus whatever extra crop we got this field. If I were to fertilize this field for a contract, I'd probably get paid maybe, I don't know, 8 grand, 10 grand. And I'd have this field fertilized in like 90 seconds. It's going to take me this entire video basically to harvest this field. And that's going to be with some jump cuts here and there as well. So fertilizing contracts are always nice to do. The one thing I don't know yet is if I were to put the crop sensors on my class Arion and were to go around and fertilize, would I save on fertilizer fertilizing someone else's field? That I don't know, because that's something new in Farming Simulator 22, the crop sensors and the way they are working. And I've only done no man's land, and we have all the fields of no man's land. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to hire a worker, not a course plate worker, just a regular worker to start working on this field, because I got to bring the trailer on up to help unload this combine. And the crop is going just north of here. I'm actually surprised it's not going to the other end. So let me go ahead and hire ourselves a worker. Get started on that. Let me tab through here. Yeah, I spent maybe about 2 or 3 minutes while Frank was harvesting a little bit, going around the map, trying to find a repair shop somewhere. I'm like, there's got to be a repair shop if you don't own one. And I'm like, well, maybe there's something weird going on with my save game or something. And then when I started on Fresh Farmer, I always forgot what those 3 are called. I know the last one I always use is Start From Scratch, but Fresh Farmer, I log in there and I'm like, well, there's a repair trigger right there. Gosh darn it. Where's mine? I don't know how I came about, like, well, what happens if I buy the property? And when I bought the property, the trigger appeared. I'm like, oh, really? That's all we had to do. Luckily, it doesn't cost us a penny. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up, because I thought it was going to happen today as well. If you can remember, we did a silage baling contract, and of course we completed the contract. I got some money from the bales that we had left over, and I had 3 bales I had to spawn in because I didn't know how to use that baler, and I lost some bales that way. So those were bales that were fermenting. So I'm used to no man's land to where, wait, did I want to go down that road? So I was used to no man's land to where silage takes 1 month to ferment. And yes, I did want to go down that road. So I was expecting those 3 bales to be fermented today and to be sold at the BGA because they're just sitting there. So once they're completely fermented and turned to silage, I got 3 bales at like 15,000 liters apiece. They will just sell and we'll get some cash on that. They're about 50% done, so it looks like 2 months for grass to ferment into silage here on this map. Oh yeah, and the other thing I want to clear up now, I'm thinking about baling and doing silage runs. The last episode I was talking about the fertilizer spreader that I was using, and I think I misread what that person wrote as a comment. I think I took it as they said that there's no weight on trailers on the map, and no, what I should be saying is that modded fertilizer spreader, the Kubota from the Kubota pack, the mod author of that took out the weight. So there's no weight on that fertilizer spreader at all. So it's actually the fertilizer spreader that doesn't have any weight on it, not done by the map. I thought that would be kind of odd for the map author to do that, but you can see the combine down here chugging away. There is a lot of canola around the map, as you can see. I'm guessing they'll be ready for harvest in November. It all depends on when they planted it, because you can plant. I probably should show you the planting chart here for East Vineland, because there was a couple changes from the base game that I could see. So mainly the thing is like wheat and barley. I never got used to yet in Farming Simulator 22 that we can only plant that in the fall. Well, here in East Vineland we can plant that in the spring as well. So that's going to help me out. We can plant everything in the spring, but there are some things you can also plant in the fall as well. There's like 2 planting seasons, if you will. Give me all that canola. Oh, sorry, soybean. Soybean. I meant to say so. I said soybean. You heard me. You just heard wrong. No. Don't back up the video and double check. I said soybean. Alright, I can turn that off, and no sense of having a worker do what I can do. Nope. Be gone with you. I need to save every penny that I can. So the plan is, after I get back from my party today, I'm going to come back on here, get some more contracts done here, maybe in October. And when we start November, we'll be doing some more contracts. But I just want to get enough money to buy the land. And then we'll figure out, do I want to put down the cabin now or just put down the tent? But if the cabin's only 10 grand and I got the cash, I may just go ahead and do that. But if the money's looking really good, or I don't know, if like a baler comes up for sale, or one of the autoloaders for bales come up for sale in the sales department, I may have to change my mind, because getting all this straw off these fields, we can make a lot more cash that way. As you saw when we brought the hay and the silage from the contracts that we did, we got some extra good cash here. And there's a lot of fields here that we can make straw from. I was just, when I was looking over the map just a couple hours ago, I started looking at the prices of all the fields. I'm like, there's got to be cheaper ones around here somewhere. And then I started thinking to myself, what did you get yourself into? All these, I mean, basically all the small fields are like 175 to like 250, 275. Which is fine. I have no problem with the pricing of the fields. It's just not what you commonly see in Farming Simulator, where the fields are extremely expensive. And I didn't even bother clicking on the big fields. I'm pretty sure some of the big fields are going to be like $1 million, couple $1 million. Now this combine that we're using here, I was actually thinking of using a case combine once we get our farm rolling, but I don't want to plan that far ahead because I think it's going to be whatever comes up for sale. But if nothing comes up for sale, then, you know, we could have got the case combine. And yes, oh yeah, there is another thing I want to clarify about the not leasing equipment and not selling equipment. So when I say I don't want to buy equipment, well, first of all, I should, in case you haven't heard, we're not leasing anything here. We're not allowed to lease any equipment. And I also don't want to buy equipment. So say like next spring we have land. I'm not going to buy a seed drill, plant the field, then turn around and sell the drill. Because to me that's like leasing in order to get money back so I can maybe afford a combine. But what we can do is say next spring we have land, I buy a seed drill. Let's say I buy the Amazon 3-meter wide seeder at a very cheap price. And later in the year, say like the Horse Pronto 9-meter wide seeder comes up for sale, I can trade in the seeder I have as long as I'm buying a seeder with the money I get from it. So yeah, I'm not going to have just piles of equipment that I can't, you know, because I said, well, we're not going to sell it. I'm just not going to buy equipment, use it, and then turn around and sell it, because that's just like leasing. But, you know, if we buy a piece of equipment and we're going to upgrade it, then we can sell the piece of equipment that we got, upgrade it to, you would think, a better piece of equipment, because that's why it's called upgrading, not downgrading. So I'm not going to have a pile of tractors and small equipment stowed away in a barn somewhere, or like someone said, just put them in the hedgerows like other farmers do, and then 30 years later you go, oh yeah, what about that tractor? Oh, I forgot it was even there. I actually thought this field was going to be a quick harvesting contract just because the price we're getting paid. Now the only thing I would like to test out, contract in field 68 finished. Oh, Frank is done plowing the big field already. I should mention that Class Arian, once I got it repaired, and the plow is fully repaired, it can pull that plow at 10 miles an hour. Sometimes going uphill, it can struggle a very little bit, but it gets the job done. I thought about upgrading the engine. I think it's like 30 grand to upgrade it from a 160 to a 205, 210, 225, something like that. I was like, you know what? If it's getting the job done, I'll just let it go, because 30,000 is 30,000 right now. And every little grain of crop I leave behind is an extra $10 I might need. What I'm going to do here, once I, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and hire a worker for the time being. Again. Let's go find, where was Frank? Frank, where were you? Oh, I was like, you're still going. I am getting some wheel slippage, as you can see. Once in a while we get some wheel slippage. I wasn't getting it like this, though. But the contract is done. Let me tell Frank to just take a breather. Is that because of a worker, or is that that's some wheel slippage right there. So if he's on a plowed surface, there's wheel slippage, but on a surface that's not plowed, let me get back out here for a second. Yeah, look at the wheel slip on the plowed surface on the left side. But if I get back over to where it's not plowed yet, not a problem. So you can see we do have a little bit of wear and tear on the Arian, and the plow is probably wore down a very little bit, but you can see we're maxing out 8 miles an hour out of the possible 10. I do realize, because someone else made a comment as well, if you turn the plow around, it'll probably go at max speed, because you don't need hardly any horsepower for that. But the way I'm doing it is the way we're going to do it. Either way is fine. Nothing wrong with the other way if you want to do it. Make sure I hit collect on that. Okay, so I got to plow 112 or 57. Are we near either one of those? 57. There's 59. There's 58. Where is... Where, oh, where can my baby be? Where's 57? 57. Oh, there it is, way over here. I thought it'd be, I'm seeing 59, 58. Then I was expecting 57 over here. And we are here. The other field is like 112, which is down here. I guess I started in the middle. I think I'll bring them down to 112. That'll take them a little bit longer to do. Let's drive on down there, get them started. And then I can jump back into the combine and finish that one off, hopefully. Alright, so which one of the Franks is going to take over this time here? Looks like Frank Jr. Actually, to be honest with you, almost looks like me. Anyways, kind of scary. Let me hop back in. Whoop, nope, gotta hop in back this way. And stop the worker. There we go. So $91,000 in the bank account, which sounds really, really good. Probably on a regular map, I might be able to buy a decent field to a small field. Here, that can't even get you a small acre and a half of land, basically. You know what? Since I'm up here, I think I'm gonna go over and empty into the trailer. I can probably get the rest of the field done. Of all the maps I've been on, I'm trying to think if I ever have really used a case harvester. I mean, I may have used it on jobs like this, but as for having one on the farm, because usually I just go to my bread and butter that used to be the CR 9010. Oh, I even forgot the model number of that now. New Holland. Is that even in? Is that in the game yet? Or is that gonna be part of like a DLC kind of a thing? Harvesters. No, it's not. It's not in the game at all. That model number is going to drive me nuts now. I should know what that model number is, and it's just slipping my mind. But I use that quite a bit in 19, along with the Lexian. Now on this map here, because since I'm using the Lexian on No Man's Land, once I get enough fields and we have the cash and I get the 60-foot header, I might be getting the John Deere harvester, or if the case will work, I'll do that as well. I'm just not sure if the pipe is going to be long enough. That was the problem with the ideal combine that we have on No Man's Land. The pipe did not extend out far enough beyond the header, so it was kind of hard to unload the combine. But I do know the John Deere works, because someone told me it did, and I tried it, and it does work. We know the Lexian works. It's too bad with the contracts that we're getting. I'm getting like onesies and twosies at a time, meaning I'll get one harvesting contract and nothing else that matches it. So I can't borrow the items for one contract and do the rest without borrowing them, and just use the borrowed items on all the contracts that we're doing. Cultivating jobs, I just let sit there, and if they disappear, they disappear. But once I get like 3 or 4 of them and they're somewhat decent, I go ahead and lease the one that's the biggest cultivator, because I want to get the jobs done quickly, as long as I'm not losing too much cash by doing so. And then I go do that. Yep, there was that wonderful little noise again. I just heard it. Once in a while I hear it, and most of the time I don't. I'm not sure where that noise originated from, but I remember in 19 doing it on some maps. I don't think it did it on any maps that I was doing. And honestly, I don't think I really noticed it on this map until like episode 3, until I heard it myself. I'm like, wait a minute, was that noise? And the other interesting thing we'll see when November rolls around. You know, can I get this in one pass? Probably not. No, I'll have to make 2 passes anyways. I want to see when November comes, what are these autumn trees going to do? We know my situation in No Man's Land. I'll be interested to see if these trees flicker or not. And someone thinks that the flickering tree problem I'm having in No Man's Land is because those are trees I'm buying and placing down, not ones that were on the map. So I was like, well, they should be the same trees in theory. I'm not really sure how that would work by me buying a tree and of course, you know, we planted in compared to the tree that's already on the map. We'll find out when November comes, which should be next episode. So let's see, I'm probably going to get like, what, 2,500 for this harvesting contract. And whatever we make off the soybeans, probably like 1,000, 2,000 at most on the soybeans. For the extra goodness. But just think, possibly next season, if we have a baler and a trailer, I could be plopping down some straw. We're making some straw bales, picking those up and selling it to wherever we can sell it to. Probably the animal livestock market or the VGA. I don't know if there's a bio heating plant here or not. I think there is. Before I go dump that off here, we can find out pretty easily by going down here to straw. Biomass heating plant, farm shop North Bales, farm shop South Bales. So the BGA doesn't take it? Guess not. Either way, that's fine. Now, before I complete this contract, I just want to come on in. So the other harvesting jobs are cotton. And that's not worth it to me. One cultivating job. Yep, and the rest of the jobs we got here. Alright, let's see if we can get this load delivered. The one thing about contracts, I seem to get the same equipment over and over again. For harvesting, I always seem to get this Massey Ferguson, the 3670, along with the, okay, this is actually a different trailer. This is just a Brantner. I think on the bigger fields I get the power, is it the power? Power something kind of a trailer. You can see the grain silo up ahead, that's where we're going. Now another piece of equipment that I would like to, well, we are going to get eventually, but the root crop harvester, the modded one, I have yet to really try it out. But if you've been watching the No Man Land series, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But it is a modded one that can harvest at a really fast rate. It holds a lot in the capacity. I think it holds anywhere from 60,000 liters up to 1,000,000 liters. And it can do potatoes, sugar beet, sugar cane, and cotton. If we get it, I'm just going to, well, I should say if. When we get it, I'm not going to use it for cotton and sugar cane. I'll just use it for potatoes and sugar beets. But how fast I could do contracts of sugar beet and potatoes if I were to have it. The only thing is, paying full price for it, you're talking about 330 grand. And if I had 330 grand, I probably wouldn't be spending it on that just yet. Come on, Massey, you can do it. I would throw the beacons on, but we don't have any. Right, I'm going to cut across, then we'll have to go through the intersection and have to stop. See, articulated trailers, so I got to make sure I get in here because I cannot back these things up. Well, I can. They just get, whoop, yep, and I run to a post. I'm too busy watching the trailer. Now you got to back up. But yeah, when I back them up, I always jackknife them. So I'm guessing about $2 grand, maybe extra of soybeans. What we're gonna have. Which is not bad. Soybeans do sell for a decent price, but I don't know if it's a good time of year or a bad time of year to sell soybeans. Alright, so 1,103 is what we got for it. I mean, overall, not too bad. Harvesting is completed. So, overall, let's see, I got about 38. We got about $4 grand for doing that job. It's just too bad another harvesting job's not up. That I could use that header, because then I could just go ahead and accept a contract, not borrow, and use that equipment there. But since it's not there, I'm going to go ahead and collect, because like I said, sometimes when I refresh, it disappears on me. Let's go down and see what I'm doing, I guess, because I said that guy kind of looks like me in a way. Almost done here. Let me go ahead and fire myself. And we'll finish this off ourselves. And then I'll get the other ones done later on. But with the contracts we do have, we're going to be sitting at right about 100,000. So we just need another, I'm going to say 40,000. The land's like 130 and change. Something like that. At least we'll have our own land when the winter months come. Contract's done, but I'm going to go ahead and get this, most of this last row done. So we'll get our land. Like I said, we'll try to work towards getting a baler, getting a baling trailer next season, and maybe a mower, because eventually if we get our own land, we can cut grass and make our own bales. And I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll be starting off with some sheep, because sheep are like the easiest to take care of. They just need hay or grass depending on the sheep pen you put down. And also they may, of course they're going to need some water, but depending on the pen you put down, it may have automatic water, but you know about that. Yep, I'm getting wheel slippage on. Yep, now the right one's slipping. But there we go. There is another contract done. Let me go ahead and clear that course so I don't have to see the signs. And nope, I keep going to the wrong one here. Contracts completed. Collect. And I got one more, field 57. But before, I was like, I'm going to take care of that after. I want to go ahead and show you the calendar. So this is what the planting season in East Vineland looks like. So at first I was looking at, okay, what's in the fall? What's going on here? But mainly, if you look at the springtime, you can plant wheat, barley, canola. You can basically plant everything in the spring. So not necessarily have to do it in the fall. I mean, you can do it with your wheat and barley, September, October, and your canola is August, September, or you can wait until February and March. Let's see, what else can you plant in February? Cotton. Yeah, I think that was the same on No Man's Land. But basically, everything's in the spring. So I'm hoping when things are planted in the spring, we'll get a lot of fertilizing contracts here. But I need to be ready with a baler and a baling trailer. Looks like in June. They're not that expensive, but I want to get some land first for the house. And the first bit of land I want to buy for the farm, I'm not sure if I can, you know, I don't know if this is the route I'm going to go, but yeah, we definitely want to go ahead and look at something like this. But it's $541,386. What's this land I'm looking for? Okay, so it's just $130,300. That's where the house is going to go. This little plot here, I thought about buying, but that's $45,000. I can barely put a tent on that, basically, and there's some nice trees there, so I don't want to interfere with that. But looking at this plot of land right here, this is where the base farm was, but since I went start from scratch, there's nothing there. But you can see all the concrete and asphalt and all the little roads that went to where the buildings were. We could do a lot of things with it. We could put down our sheds, or I could just plow the whole thing in, make one big field, and start farming off that itself. We'll have a nice grass field there if we want to, but as you can see, it's 240. I'm just curious, like a grass field like this, that's going for 799,000. A field like that goes for 1.1 million. Yeah, so the fields around here, if I were to just, that's a lot of contracts. Speaking of, let me go to this page here. So far in this session alone, I've done 16 contracts, and I've done 38 in total. So got tons and tons of contracts. Tons and tons of contracts. But we'll get them done. We'll get the money. Eventually we'll get our farm. I'm trying to progress this at a steady rate. I don't want to be doing contracts, like I said, for like the first 10 episodes. So I want to have like our own land, hopefully by, let's see, this is episode 5. So we own our own land by episode 6. We'll have our house. We won't have to pay for rent. And then, of course, the winter months, you're not going to get much contract work then. And then next spring, maybe we'll get some planting. We'll put Frank on maybe some seed drills to do some contracts for seeding. We'll be doing some fertilizing. And I think that's where the fertilizing is going to pay off next season. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the episode. I do appreciate you watching as always. I'll catch you again right here in East Vineland. But until then, have a good one. I should turn that off. I'm wasting diesel fuel that I got to pay for.